Yo, what's good guys, but I'm Fire here back from the video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys my Cincinnati Bengals full offensive ebook. You guys showed a ton of love on the Jets one, so we decided to bring you guys another one, and this is going to be the Bengals, which will probably be your second or your first rated playbook this year. You'll see a ton of pro players use it, a lot of the 818 guys. Bunch offset, one of the best ones in the game. Tight slot tap back weak. This formation is very, very good, so you will see a ton of people use this. And overall, just one of the best playbooks. If you checked out my video that I posted 2 days ago, I ranked the playbooks that I thought were the best in the game. Bengals came in at number 2 for good reason, and it is very solid. So I think you guys will definitely enjoy. Once again, the written version for this ebook will be down below in the description and the comment section, available for purchase. So what you get with that is every single written setup that is included in this entire video. It will have an Xbox version and a PlayStation version, and it will talk about the coverages that every single one of them beats. So if you're learning a new playbook, I would definitely advise you guys go pick that up. It will make this a lot easier to learn and understand, and also follow along with just having that open, watching the video at the same time, and being able to try these out and just understand and study the playbook a lot more. So yeah, also if you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below for more videos. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I will be dropping a 4-6 defensive ebook in the next coming days, but without further ado, let's jump straight into it, starting out with the gun bunch offset formation. There's a lot to like out of the bunch offset. Now, I won't say it's the best bunch in the game. I think West Coast bunch is a little bit better, but having tight slot tap back weak makes this playbook overall better than West Coast. The plays that I like out of here are going to be, I like flood, I like smash return over there. We have one set up for that. We have one set up for PA dig fork. I like Z spot and go on the right there, bench pivot as well. Dig return we have one set up for, vert tap back under. So tons of different plays out of here. My audibles are going to be, I like having bench pivot, Z spot and go, and inside zone I will usually just leave. Now I don't run the ball a whole lot, so if I'm actually playing online I might throw flood in there, just have 4 passing plays, but dealer's choice. We are going to start out with Z spot and go here though. And also what the ebook will tell you is what side the bunch is on, so it'll talk about how if plays are on the right side or the left side, just so you actually understand, because the icons do change when you flip. But let's actually move the face cam here before I forget. That would have been bad. And let's hop into setup number 1. So setup number 1, what we're going to do is a simple just beater of coverage. We're just going to streak B, motion him out like so. And with this setup, you're going to be able to just take advantage of a lot of different routes. I like the C routes this year. They actually do get pretty decently open. You can fit them in like that, just against most coverages. Cover 2 especially, you can also do cover 3. When you're coming on this play, your first read is going to be the flats. Take a look at A, take a look at Y. They're both going to be just wide open here. Now A gets bumped somehow by a defensive lineman, which you just love to see, but I guess it happens. But those are going to be your first reads out of this play. Attack the flats, force your opponent to, what you want to force them to do is really defend those. So throw those until he can't, and he's going to have to adjust. So let's try that again here. Again, check it down. If you're picking up 5 yards or 5 yards plus, it's a successful play, and you will move on gladly. So you love that. Again, same thing with Y. You'll take 5 yards, keep throwing it, because it's going to open up some bigger plays down the line, and that is where you're going to get your deep completions, like this corner out. So the corner out is going to be very solid against cover 3, cover 2 as well, and can get open as cover 4. And then obviously against man coverage, that setup's not going to be the greatest, but the corner outs can still do a little bit of work. But let's move into our next setup, which is going to be mainly a cover 2 setup. It also is decent against man coverage. You're just going to put A on a streak, B on an out route. Again, same combination over here on the left you'll see for most of these setups. But we do have some other stuff. So again, the C route, you can fit it in. You do need a good receiver with route running, good catch and traffic ability. Guys like Cooper Kupp come to mind. Obviously, a lot of the new cards, Shadow Jocinco types. And this setup can be solid. Again, against cover 3, it's not going to be the greatest, but you can still find the openings, and it will do work against cover 2. Now, if you are playing against cover 3 and you accidentally run the setup against the wrong coverage, what you can do is try and throw this in the gap right here, and you can still complete it right there. So you can still open things up. Moving on to our next setup, what we're going to do here is we're going to drag A, block Y, and then what we're going to do is just kind of motion snap out B. So this is a man coverage setup for sure. It should beat a lot of the coverages like cover 3 as well. Cover 2 I probably would stay away from, but the drag would definitely be open against cover 2. This corner out, again, this is for man coverage really. You motion him out, you can motion snap him, he's going to run his little stop and go, and he can get deep if you have enough space. You probably don't want to motion him out as far as I did there.
Here we go.
But you actually don't need to motion him out at all, but you could. I like throwing him in that spot right there when he stops. You could also just kind of throw him as like a delayed slant type of a route. So like right here, he runs up the field, you could throw it there, and he's almost like a delayed route. He gets open because all the zones are going to bump up. And if it is man coverage, that is where he can get open. So really you're just motioning him out not to get pressed, but if you want to wait, you should be able to get over the top like there, even with probably bad timing on my part. So take advantage of that in that way. Again, if you're getting pressed, that's why I would motion him out, but otherwise you don't necessarily need to. Anyways, hopping into our next setup, what we're going to do here is throw Y on a wheel and X on an out route. I like this concept just against cover 3 as a solid basic play. Now, against this, in this setup, I usually block my tight end as well. Just simple route combination. You see the wheel routes. Now, this play is probably a little bit better from the wide side of the field or with your bunch on the short side. But if you wait, that guy should also get open as well. So if it's cover 3 and that guy's way far out there, just throw this out route until you can no longer do it. This is one of my favorite things to do in bunch because nobody really does it other than like me. And you can also rack catch him up the field depending on how you pass lead. So take advantage of that. The wheel route will do a good job of pulling up those zones as well. So it's going to open up T. Higgins over here. And if you wait, you can fit him in like right there. Pass lead that a little bit more, probably low ball as well. And that was a little bit late on my part as well. But snap it right about here. You can throw it right there, and that is the timing you want. I shouldn't have rat caught, but it is definitely a tighter throw, and that is why maybe throwing it on this side I think would be a little bit better because you have that corner a little bit further to the outside. We'll see here, I guess. And yeah, so you're going to have a lot more space if you run it on the short side, so feel free to swap between those. You can run a lot of these plays from the short side. You don't necessarily have to run them on the wide side. And it's just using this offense a lot, you will learn which side you want to run it on. If it's man coverage, you have B and RB against zone with nobody over there. You're not going to ever complete it. But let's hop into our next setup. What we're going to do here is the same thing. We're going to wheel Y, put X on an out route. What we're going to do is put A on an in route, smart out A. And then what I like to do is we're going to flip this. And then you're going to motion out B. So this is a setup that I ran a little bit last year. I'm going to motion him out a little bit further to get that delayed. You can also just completely motion him out. But setup wise, this is going to be kind of your thing against man coverage that I like. I would probably just motion snap him just so that he runs that route almost a little bit slower. So again, motion him out. I don't know why I can't motion snap him. But you can also run it like this, and he's going to stop there. Really what the in route does is it clears him up. So really you're going to throw Y and X until you can't. And then he's probably going to be using over on the right, so that is where you have it. But that coverage is going to be good against man as well. Not my favorite setup, but I decided to throw it in. Next setup, what we're going to do here is just streak Y. We're going to motion out B. This is mainly against coverage, but again, some of these routes can beat man, so you have them. Like right there. Obviously, you hope he catches it. This setup typically opens up the C route a little bit more, what I noticed, as well. So it really pulls the zones over. So you can definitely complete that. Pass lead it to the outside, never up the field. You don't want it to get picked, but that's really going to do it for our Z spot and go. I'm going to try and go a little bit fast because we have a ton of setups, but next setup is going to be verts, halfback under. And with this play, we have just a lot of really basic, simple setups. The first one is going to be throw wide on a wheel route. Here you're just going to make your read. Typically with the wheel route, it's kind of a snap throw play. This is just a good quick snap. If you notice your opponent making like 20 million adjustments, you just run this, throw this wheel like right about here, probably even earlier than I did right there. And he can get some good rack, catch the ball, run up the field. You still have all your other routes like A and B that can get open, so feel free to complete those. RB, he should be a little bit opened up down the field, at least late he should. And again, you're just really trying to catch your opponent off guard. RB, he can get open. Now they kind of run in the same area, so it's not the greatest play design. The streak one is going to be a little bit better, but not bad at all. And you still have all these routes. So again, decent, especially if you're running a lot of Z-spot and go and these corner out concepts and you're audibling to tight slots, which you should be doing. This is where just some of these quick snap setups can give you success. Next one, just a little out route with the running back. This is going to be decent against man. You're just throwing him on a little out. This will create better spacing for RB on his little over route, so take advantage of that. And then you have Tyler Boyd that you can step up in the pocket and hit on the crossing route. He should be good against man coverage, cover 3 and cover 2. And again, Joe Mixon, he's good against man, and then you just have your same wheel routes. Anyways, the next setup is just to streak him. This is going to be mainly a cover 3 setup. This is something that I like to run in the red zone, just because you're basically making the user pick a side. Even against man coverage, with these routes, you can typically kind of pass them inside and they will have leverage. So, slower developing routes, it makes it a pretty obvious read whether you're going to the left or right. And again, if you're in a late play situation, you can maybe hit RB. If it's cover 2, B may be open as well. So, make your decision. I like that play in the red zone, but again, it's another quick snap option. Especially if you want to just catch him off guard in between adjustments, maybe catch him on the D-line, things of that nature. Next setup that we're going to do is drag A, and I'm in the wrong play. Drag A and throw the running back on an out to the right. This is a really good setup against man coverage and cover 3. Just a couple of crossing routes, then you have that deep route over the top. Also, on the right side, you have a nice little high-low between that wheel route and that running back route. Now, out of this one, you can actually probably leave Mixon on his route. I like the way that out route runs a little bit slower, but you could do this one as well. Again, just up to you if you want them a little bit deeper or shorter. And if your revert tap back under maybe doesn't have that route, then that's something you could do. With B, you can maybe fit him in over here. This is, again, more of a cover 2 pass. And against man coverage, they should obviously fry. So, last setup out of vert tap back under that we're going to do is curl A, throw running back on out to the left once again. And what we're going to also do is motion him out. This is a nice little coverage setup. Some routes in the middle of the field, trying to open up the curl, trying to open up Tyler Boyd's route, and that typically does a little bit better for that. Again, you can run your bunch on the short side if you want a little bit more space for Tyler Boyd to run across the field. Feel free. This setup, decent. I don't really run it too often, but it could work. And again, just mixing things up. If it's man coverage, the curls usually stop on a dime. You can fit them in there even against cover 3. It works. So I do like the curl routes a lot this year. Next play that we're going to run is going to be bench pivot. And with bench pivot, we have our tight end corner route, little zig, little out route. So a lot of basic setups. The first one I like is just going to be to streak X, throw RB on a little slant. This is a really good setup against man coverage, typically, but against cover 3, you can get some decent spacing looks. Now, I may actually switch formations from this regular nickel, just because my tight end is getting bumped every time he tries to run an outside breaking route by the stupid D end, who's like really in a weird spot. So I might audible just because I want him actually running right. Against cover 3, you're trying to throw it there. If it's man coverage, you can throw it a little bit later. I am going to switch coverages real quick. But, yeah, so if it's cover 3, you want to throw it in that little window that I've been kind of moving it to. Let's go something like this. Might still get bumped, actually. Hopefully not. Not as badly. So you want to throw it in this window. I would aggressive catch it because you're probably going to take a hit, but it should be from the cornerback, so you should be fine. If it's cover 2, he can have potential to just get over the top, so you probably want to throw it late rather than in that window. And then on the left side, just some man coverage beaters. You have this little slant. Now, he doesn't really get too open, so another thing you can do, this is a setup that I didn't write in the actual ebook, is maybe just smoke screen him over here. A little different look of a high-low read. You see T. Higgins is open every play as well, so you feel free to throw that out route again. I'm not doing it, but throw the out route until you can't. Nothing else matters. Throw the out route every time until he forces you not to. Anyways, the next setup we have here is going to be streak RB. Put B on a little out route. I like the out route just spacing-wise a little bit better here. And then what we're going to do is just drag X and throw Y on a wheel. So, decent setup here. And just some little under-breaking routes. You see A gets wide open. Unfortunately, we get pressured. So you could block your running back if you need to. If you need the extra protection, feel free to block your running back, which we do here. And then he is opened up. So pass lead outside on this one. And it is a very good concept. Again, the out route's wide open. I like the drag just to give you something on the back end. I like the wheel. And this is a really good man coverage setup because the wheels are super good against man this year. So you can definitely fit those in. If you need to check down, you got Chase. And you can pick up 5+ yards every time. So feel free to hit him. Our last setup is going to be to streak B. We're going to throw RB on the flat. We're going to put the running back on an out to the right. And then I like to just curl X on the backside. So here's our setup. Very man coverage based, but a lot of these routes can get open. You see how I like the spacing. Now RB kind of is in the way a little bit, but he does open up that window for the running back. And again, just a lot of different routes you're mixing it up with. So A, he's going to be opened as well. He ends up getting bumped 20 million times, but we still have a window to throw to. And that's going to happen. A lot of routes get bumped this year more than last year, so it is unfortunate, but you know, you got to fight through. And then on the left side, this is good for man coverage. Just curl that can beat man. You have the running back route that can beat man. And then the tight end, so it gives you 3 routes. Also in the seam, you can throw T. Higgins here if you have the opportunity. So that's going to do it for bench pivot. And actually, no, we have one more setup. I'm tripping. Slant RB, we're going to flat B, streak X, throw the running back on an out to the left. And then I like to just motion out this slant. So again, you're throwing him in the window. And this is going to give you a little bit better version almost of that first setup. Just if you don't need to block anybody, you can do this. Terrible timing there. Throw it earlier. You almost throw it before he breaks, just when he's going up the field. So don't sleep like I did there. And then again, you have your decent setup on the left. So his eyes probably go to the right here, I'm going to assume. So I'm probably throwing this route over here. And if it's really under the top, if it's man coverage, that's when you can hit the slant. Anyways, my camera cord got bumped. Moving on to our next play, it's going to be flood, which we have to back out for. And with flood here, we have a lot to like. Very diverse play. One of my favorite plays year in, year out. It's just solid, and you can do a ton with it. Now, it doesn't really beat cover 3 like it used to, just running it stock. But you have a lot of routes. Again, stock, not going to work. A lot of these plays never will work stock. That's why we make our hot routes. So first setup I'll do is a little out route. Again, what are you looking for here? You're looking for A or Y. Just instantly throw either of those. You see how much space we get over here because of the out route. Same with the running back on the other side. Throw these routes until you can't do him. So again, this is another quick snap setup. If he's trying to cross man 20 people, set up his blitz, catch him off guard, just run this. With the out route, he's not great. You can pass lead, or you can high ball over the top and complete it, but a regular bullet pass, and that's a dangerous thing because if he has someone athletic there, he can click on and maybe make an interception, especially if he's a tall defender. Be careful. Over here on the left with the in route, can he get open? Yes. It is a difficult throw this year. The linebackers, again, play those hook curls a lot better, so they're not just like completely dumb, playing down coverage or biting on the running back completely. It's a difficult pass, so be careful. The next setup I have more of a cover 2 setup, so it won't work as good as against this, but you can streak A, throw the running back on his out route still. Now, you can also block the tight end in this case if you'd like. I like him just to clear out some of these zones. But against cover 3, you're looking to hit B early. Against cover 2, that is where the out route should be a little bit more open. And if you're getting pressured, feel free to run it like this. You can also motion out B just to get him even more out there, but you can really hit him against cover 3. And again, against cover 2, it's going to open up that out route, hit him. Next setup that we're going to go to is being really more of a man coverage setup. It can work here against cover 3, but putting B on a little zig and you just have this drag on the back end gives you a couple of underneath routes. And then 2 over-the-top routes. Really what you're trying to get here is 4 man coverage beating routes, which is what you have against cover 3. It's not going to be the greatest, but of course, these guys can get open with B. Now, the zig, it does probably the best job of pulling down a curl flat zone. So you see how RB is going to be open. We're actually going to throw it to him here. And hopefully we can complete it. And there you have it. Probably want to wait, throw it on the sidelines a little bit. Again, you can also run these concepts from the short side of the field if you want him to break a little bit quicker to the outside. Feel free to do that. Anyways, our last setup for this is going to be hitch B. Throw Y on a wheel route, X on an out route. You see I like this concept a lot, so this is a play that you can run from this side of the field. Feel free to do so. Again, anytime you're running this wheel concept, probably like it better from this side, but I do like having space for him. So you throw B on a little hitch. He's going to do what he does, and what he does is hold every single zone. Hitches, very good this year. Now, they don't really get open, but what they do is hold zone. So, A, you saw him wide open, and it can open up RB, potentially. Probably more on the wide side, but it also opens up B late as a little throw. So, again, the concept on the left, X is wide open. You see he comes up, you can hit B. You can also playmaker him back inside. So let's hop into our last 3 plays now, and those are going to be dig return, smash return, PA dig fork. Now I only have 1 setup each for those. And then we have a ton of setups in the tight slots halfback week. Now some of the other formations I'm going to be going over, I didn't mention it, are bunch halfback strong. We have a couple of setups out of here, very good formation. And then I also, the bunch X nasty, I probably will drop a separate video on this, but it is going to be there. So let's hop into our last of the gun bunch plays. So I'm just going to throw these in our audibles. These are typically not in the audibles, but let's go. I'm just going to come out and dig return. So we will do smash return here, and then we will do PA dig fork right here. So where is dig return on the left there? Now dig return is one of my favorite man coverage plays that you can use. I'm actually probably going to, let's come out in man coverage because I've been running a lot of cover 3. I think I'm going to come out in man coverage just to give you guys some different looks. So let's go dig return, and let's run just a, let's try to run 2-man under. 2-man under. So if he's running a lot of man coverage, I like this setup. You're just going to smoke screen X. This is out of dig return once again. And this is going to give you 2 man coverage beating routes, B and RB. Now B gets pressed worse than I've ever seen, so I'm just going to block A to clear him out because A's route, these idiots are congested, and I chose the stupid nickel formation. Maybe this nickel formation is tough because the way the defensive lineman just hits you. But B is a killer of man coverage. It's not a normal zig. Don't be fooled. It's going to be a little bit slower and a little bit more inside. So it's going to be really good against cover 3 as well. You have Tyler Boyd, obviously. So it's just 2-man beating routes. Typically, he's going to have to make a decision right or left. I don't run this play too often, so it's going to generally catch him off guard. He's expecting corner routes, things like that. So 2-man beating routes. You pick your poison. It's really good against cover 3 as well. The next play that we have is going to be smash return. This is another play that I'm a big fan of. Streak X, slant RB, similar setup to, you guessed it, the similar setup to the bench pivot one we had, but B is on this little return in route, so you see how he fries man coverage like that. He's on basically a zig that cuts to the inside. Very good route. Spacing wise, it should be good against cover 3. I don't run the setup too often, but it can catch people off guard just with this T. Higgins route. Like if I'm really struggling to beat man coverage, we can go with that. And take a look at Irv Smith. He fries man coverage. Now there's a safety over there helping, but if it was cover 0, nobody over there, he would be open probably for a touchdown. His route was really good. Last play, PA dig fork. And I have one set up for this play, just A on an out route. Block our running back. And then we motion out B. This is, again, a good setup for man coverage. If it's cover 0, B can get really open the way he does there. Again, there's safety over there. He probably picks it off, but with no safety help and being in a cover 0, that route would be a one-play touchdown man coverage beater. He's going to have to user it, and that would open up your corner out. You don't necessarily have to motion him out. I just like that spacing-wise to open up cover 3 corner out. But if it's man coverage again, this dude gets wide open. Probably highball it just to risk no interceptions, or you could really pinpoint that over the top. So let's hop into our next formation, which is going to be the tight slots halfback week. Alrighty, folks. So our next formations, the tight slots halfback week. Really, it's 1A, 1B for this in bunch. You will run these about the same amount of times. Now, I really run whatever's working in the game if I'm running this. So if I'm hot on a drive with tight slots, continue to run the tight slots. If I'm hot with bunch, I run the bunch. Now, typically what you guys see people do is they will audible from bunch to tight slots. That is a popular concept. I'm not going to do it for time purposes, but that's typically what you want to do. Come out and bunch every play, and if you want to run tight slots, audible to tight slots. Now, I know my face is kind of blocking some of these plays, but we have a lot of plays that I like. Really 3 main ones. There's post-wheel drag, but a lot of the setups that we would run out of flood are going to be concepts you can run out of post-wheel drag. But I like bench on the left. My face is covering it. Inside zone. And again, bunch had an inside zone as well. I don't show it because who cares about watching me run inside zone for 2 minutes? You guys know what an inside zone is. There's nothing to teach for inside zone. But I like flood, inside zone, bench, and mesh spot. So we're going to begin with flood. All of these plays are as if the running back is on the right side of the formation. So let's hop into it. So if we're running flood, what do we like in this flood? We're going to start out with mesh spot, actually. 11. Mesh spot, what do we like? We like Jamar Chase over here. We do like him a lot. We like the wheel route. And then we have a couple of things we can work with drags. Those are the players that will hot route a route. So we're building this play around 2 routes that we'll keep for most of the time. The wheel and the post. First setup, we're going to smart route X, flat B. Then we're just going to throw Y on an in route and streak A. So just a decent little high-low read between X and Y. You also have this eye candy on the right side. Mixon's always really going to be open on this route. So what's he going to have to do? He's going to have to burn one of those hook curls, man him up, or he's going to have to use him. It really just kills any option he has at defending the play, because what's he going to do with that route? One of these hook curls is going to have to be taken on him. If he mans up the curl flat, just the baby flat with Higgins is going to be open. And if it's man coverage, you have X and Y that should get open. He's going to have to choose between them. So it's a difficult concept. I will always just throw underneath until he covers it, because you're minimizing risk. When you're throwing deep over the field, a lot of more things can go wrong. You could have a player overthrow a pass. You could have somebody get hit after you throw it and fumble the football. You could get baited into an interception. A lot of worse things can happen. But I do love the way Jamar Chase runs his route. He runs it very crispy, and it is one of the reasons this formation is so good. Jamar Chase is a player that you will use a lot in this formation, as well as T. Higgins, especially if you were just flipping formations. But really, all these routes are open. You see all 3 routes open against the cover 3. Just choose. He can't defend the post and the wheel, because the wheel, you're throwing it earlier. So if he's not defending the wheel, throw it every time. He can't defend the end and the wheel either. He really can't defend. He can choose between one of the 3 routes. The rest will be open. But that's going to be the first setup. Really good against cover 3. Against man, it can work, but not the best. Setup number 2, you're going to smart route X again. What you're going to do here is throw A on a little out route. We are going to slant B and flat Y. What I like to do here is motion out Y just a little bit. Motion him here, snap him instantly, so you have your same concept over here with Mixon. Now we take a weird hit animation. Doesn't phase me. I'm still throwing that pass every time. And feel free to follow suit. So again, slant B, out A, smart out X. I like the slant concept a lot between Higgins and Jamar Chase. You can motion snap him. You can also just motion him like that. It happens. So B, he gets open here in that window. This is a good play against man. You have a slant, you have a post. We saw Jamar Chase route. He gets open. And then what you have is Jonnu Smith. And you could run it vice versa with Y on the slant. I like the spacing a little bit better like this, so that is why we do it. It's not for no reason. You have this route. You can throw it, probably catch it. 7 out of 10 times. So feel free. Now, next setup that we have is smart out X. We're going to streak Y. We are going to slant B, and we are just going to block our running back. So just a decent setup. This is something you don't have to use any motion, so I am a fan of that. Really more of a man coverage setup, but against cover 3 and cover 2, you can of course get open. Take a look at the yards we picked up there. I love the post route because you can catch it, you can fall to the ground if you need to, or you can make a man miss and open it up. So again, quick snap setup that I like. You have the drag that's going to be open, and you have this slant that could get open late. If you can fit it in there, you can maybe throw it a little bit earlier and try and undercut that linebacker. So you're giving yourself a couple of options. And just a nice setup. I like setups that I don't have to move anybody around. So those are the setups that I like, and that is one of them right here. The next setup that we have is going to be motioning over B. Now this is a concept that is, I think, fairly underused in this formation, tight slots. If we motion over T. Higgins, take a look at what happens. These guys are going to flip routes. So not only is he going to motion over, but the tight end is going to flip routes. And this is going to create some cool potential for things. What we're going to do is we're going to smart out X again. We are going to be on a slant route. And then what we're going to do is just flat Y. And I'm just going to throw A on a little streak here. So option-wise, I like this stuff. You're going to have the wheel route that's still wide open. And then you have just a little slant. And you have the post. So these guys can get open. Bad pass lead there. But that's something you can do. You can flip those routes as well. I noticed that the tight end does run that route a little bit weird. Feel free to flop those. So again, you're just going to slant B, smart out X. You don't have to smart out X, but you can. So if I want, I can flat A, streak Y, and the play will pretty much work the same. Mixon still going to get open. The flat you see is wide open to throw to the outside. That guy really doesn't defend anything. And then I'll show the concept over here. Now you could throw Higgins on a drag or an in route as well. It doesn't have to be slant. I noticed that the slant does work a little bit better, but they both really should work. So up to you. If you throw it here, that's the completion, and then the slant, it's really wide open as well. Because the linebackers are playing like so far in the middle of them, they're both wide open. Throw either of them. But let's hop into our last mesh spot setup, and with this setup, I'm going to motion them over again. I'm going to smart out X, or I guess we're kind of running this the same, but we keep the drag. We're going to flat A again, and I'm going to have the slant still. So this is the setup. Really good crossing routes. I like having the backside drag again. It's really going to be wide open every time, and this also opens up the slant here. So immediately he's going to have to choose the wheel route. It's going to be open every time. We already discussed that. You can throw the wheel every time until he mans him up, uses it, or does some kind of an adjustment. Now here's the difference. He's going to use her deep to defend the post. He's going to use her shallow. If he uses shallow, he's going to defend the drag or the slant. One of those two will be open. And the post is going to be open every time. You can't use all 3 of those routes. 2 of them will always be open, and then the wheel routes. You really have 3 out of the 4 routes that's going to be wide open. I'll show it one more time here. Again, I'm trying to go fast. I have a ton of setups. I don't want the video to be too long, but I'm trying my best to get this done in a timely manner for you guys. So he's going to have to decide. They're all going to be open, and this is why this formation is so good. Just making the user pick. And they're so compressed, it's difficult to read. When we run flood, you'll see why, because when we run flood, things are going to flip completely to the other side. We're going to introduce corner routes, and it's just going to piss them off greatly. So, all right, so hopping into our next play, it's going to be flood, arguably the best play. I like mesh spot and flood. I'll run those 2 plays mainly, but bench is a good play as well. You have inside zone. Feel free to run the football. Now, this inside zone is hit or miss. You're looking at 3 yards of carry. But if he's in dollar, you can pick up a little bit more. But what we're mainly here for is flood. Smart route B. Piss off, Siri. That just scared me, like, badly. You probably saw me jump, but smart route B. Streak A. We're going to drag Y on the backside. And then what we're going to do is... actually, I'm looking at the wrong setup. Streak A, drag Y, slant X. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so this is a ton of crossing setups. I'm going to smart route B. Make sure you do that. This is a route that you can throw against cover 3. You have to time it really well. Throw it right on break. T. Higgins doesn't have great medium route running, I believe, because he didn't run that crispy. But he's going to be really good. Again, you're running it like this. Drag Y, slant X. So again, you always have a bailout in this play. Why? He's going to generally be open every time. You have a lot of these clear outs, so the window is going to be there every single time. He's going to beat man coverage as well. Your first read is going to be our friend Joe Mixon. Later reads are going to be X and B. So if none of those routes are open, the drag or the flat, it sets you up with a later play, high-low read between the post and the slant. Choose wisely, and you're right there. Really good against man coverage, obviously. 3 routes, slant, post, drag. And then you have this guy in the seam that could also maybe be open. So, and again, with a lot of these plays, you're getting the ball out of your hands so fast that even if he's blitzing, it's difficult. So I practice with this a lot. This formation is not easy to master. It's very new to a lot of people, and there's a lot of crossing routes and things happening. So, Jamar Chase ran that route like a complete idiot, but typically you want him on the other side of the field. So if he's getting bumped, you can also, what you can do, if you're getting blitzed, you can block this dude. He doesn't do a whole lot for the play. So feel free. And again, keep in mind, what is he probably doing if he's running like a cover 3? He's probably using one of those linebackers. And if it's cover 2, the middle of the field should be wide open on all of these plays because he's probably running DB fire and he's probably blitzing out of it. So again, keep in mind that these looks probably look a lot different on the online play because these guys, one of these guys is user, so one of them is always open and out of position. And a lot of these windows that are kind of covered here are probably a lot more open. So setup number 1. Setup number 2, what we're going to do is simple cover 3 beater. Streak B, just motion him out. This is going to open up your corner route. Solid against man coverage as well, but you see RB is wide open. But Tyler Boyd is more wide open, and I want 50 yards if I can, rather than 10 yards. Simple mathematics, fellas. Motion him out. Table route was wide open. You have Jonnu Smith. If you need to block him, you can. Is that Irv Smith or Jonnu Smith? Good question. I don't actually know. We'll have to check. I hope I'm not calling him the wrong name, which is why I'm calling him 2 names. If you call him 2 names, you can only be wrong, but you're also right. So you have your table. Jamar Chase is good on the backside, especially if he's using one of those guys, but this is a true flood concept. Everything going to the right side and decent setup because a lot of this formation is crossing routes, like it's an intersection. This one, everybody's going with the flow of traffic. It's a one-way street. Nice little analogy there for the boys. But what we're going to do here is we're going to actually incorporate some of the concepts from mesh spot. We're going to motion T. Higgins across. Now what does this do? It's going to turn him from a deep post to a deep corner route. Here's where things can get a little bit fun. What we're going to do here is we're going to smart route B, streak X, and drag A. Again, first read, Mixon, he's going to be open. You still have Boyd on his corner route, so you can still use him. And then you have backside drag. And against cover 3, he's going to kill T. Higgins over here. So, boom. So open. The drag is so open. The corner out is so open. The streak, you could pass it inside. He's open. Now over here on the right, not much doing. Those guys don't do a whole lot, but... And again, I can snap this pretty quick because I have all my adjustments done. By the time they set, I can snap. You have Mixon. Tyler Boyd hopefully is just eye candy. You're hoping the user hesitates for a second, looks over there to defend him. If it's man coverage, this setup is absolutely super killer against man coverage. You can smart out B before you motion him over just to get an even quicker play design. You see, they set, I snap instantly, hit him, and we pick up, what, 20 yards easily? These concepts work, and they're very effective. Again, you won't see too many people use this concept, so this should be new for all you guys, just that weird little motion glitch. Now if it's flipped, it should be working the same way, I believe, or I would hope. Now if it's actually flipped, this is where things get interesting because they don't actually work, which is interesting. So you could go out route here, you could go 2 drags, but really the play design is almost similar. You don't have the drag, but if you want, you could put him over there. Now he's still going to be wide open on the right side, so this could work. But obviously, it actually doesn't work as well from the wide side, so you'd probably want to be at the other hash mark, and then the corner out would get more open. But that's why we keep the running back on the right almost every time, because we want access to this little thing, and for some reason it doesn't work if it's flipped. So I knew it didn't work, but I wanted to double check because things do change. I hadn't actually tried it this year, but that's why we keep him on the right almost 99% of the time. A lot of the concepts will work from the short side. But if you need to flip, you're giving up probably those setups, so you're going to run something else. Next setup that we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to put X on an in route. I might have I might have written this setup wrong in the ebook, which is why I don't download it, because I make changes even after I record this video. Where did I say put X on in route motion across? I don't think that is the right setup. Smart out B. Setup could be decent. You actually get this dude over here. So this is another thing you can do with the motion stuff. You can open them up. So if you really wanted to, what we could do here is something like this. Maybe you just block A as well. Some different setups for you guys, and that could work. So this is not a setup that's in the ebook, which is why you watch the video to about the 37-minute mark or whatever we're at. I lost track because I have to record these in separate parts. But I'm not exactly sure what I was even talking about with the setup. I think I might have been wanting to do this. So route B, put X on in route. This might be what we're trying to do. Maybe I was trying to put A on in route. I'm not sure. It might have been this. Now this is very similar to the other setup, so I'm not exactly sure what I was talking about when I was. Maybe I was drunk. I don't know, but I might just take that setup out because I'm very confused myself. So I'll probably edit this out of the video. If I don't, then you will see it. But just so I remember, I'm gonna take that out now because that confused the hell out of me. And my computer is unable to do two things at once, so I can't record and edit. Fun. Let's hop into bench on another mark. So with one more flood setup. So hopefully this is the right setup. We're gonna block A, and it is very confusing, especially when I'm typing a lot of this. I'm not in front of my game. I'm not labbing everything. Smart. We're gonna block A, smart out B, slant X, and we're just gonna drag Y. So this is the same setup that I talked about earlier. You just don't have the streak. So I actually just put it in writing form, and there you guys have it. So decent setup. We already showed that a couple times, so we are going to move on to bench. Now with bench, very solid setup. You can see how we may incorporate some of that more motion stuff. That will be the last setup. For the first setup, we're going to streak A, slant Y, we're going to flat B, and we're going to wheel RB. That is not correct. We're not going to flat B. Or why is a Y on a zig? Sorry guys, I do apologize for this. Streak A, slant Y. Okay, so this is the right setup. I accidentally put him on a zig instead of a slant. But again, short side corner routes are going to be a lot better than the wide side. Now, he's probably better against cover 2. He can get open. He didn't work the greatest route I've ever seen there. Again, what we have on the right is this route. Mixon's going to be open. One of these two guys will be open every time. He's going to have to user it or do something different. Then you have streak. I like this setup a lot against man. Hit the slant immediately. If not, the corner out can be open against cover 2. Cover 3, it's a little bit tougher. He still has a window. You can fit it in. So decent setup there. Next bench setup, we're going to streak Y, wheel RB. We're going to drag X. You can also block the tight end as well. But this is a decent setup. This really should open up T. Higgins. You have a couple of other routes you can hit. If you want to snap throw it to Mixon, feel free. If you want to just drag it to Chase, feel free as well. Now, for whatever reason, I notice when I run this setup every time, Aiden Hutchinson never gets blocked. Accidentally. I hate how they automatically put you on the replay this year. I'm so used to pausing down on the D-pad and then picking my play. But Aiden Hutchinson, he usually doesn't get blocked in this, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but it happens. So here he gets blocked, and you can hit it to the corner out over there. It's a lot more open than the one we did just previously in that last setup. So that is going to be money. Again, if you want to snap throw it to Jamar Chase or Mixon right here, you can do that. Take your 5 yards again every time. Make him user low because he's not going to be able to defend the corner out if he does that. And it's just, again, the wheel routes are really good eye candy. They almost feel like they have to defend them. Here again, our right tackle does the worst job I've ever seen. I don't know. Is that La'el Collins? He's playing terrible. That is La'el Collins, Cowboys legend. Here again, we get the protection, and he opens up really well. The drag is open late, so 2 routes that should be open. He's going to pick one, throw it to the other. Not really my favorite setup against man, though. But I only have cover 3 in the written version. So next setup, we're going to get a little bit cool. We're going to motion this dude over. And in this setup, what we're going to do is we're going to motion him over. We're going to streak A. We're going to throw X on a little zig route, which is a route I'm a real big fan of. And then, you know, whenever there's a doubt, what have we been doing? You could go with something like this if you want. Y on a little, you just block the running back. You go with something like this. Not the best concept. I like to do this.
11.
Oh, does anyone else feel like the adjustments this year, like really, like you press something and it just doesn't work, especially in online games? I noticed that like so much. But motion over B, zig X, streak A, flat Y, wheel RB. But yeah, you like put in an input and it just doesn't work. So zig, he gets wide open. I like zigs. I probably should use them a little bit more than even they're used in this ebook. But they put in work. Zig's going to be open. You have the clear out. The post is really what you're trying to open up. You can go with the slant concept from the other side if you'd like. But I like the wheel because it really just, the further you can be out, the better. If I can have a route open on the sidelines, I would rather the route be open on the sidelines than the inside, whereas the slant's going to be open on the inside, but it's going to be pretty congested between the post and the out route and the streak. So better spacing, better setup. That's going to do it for this formation. Let's hop into the gun bunch halfback strong, where I need to update this audible list, which will be changed before that ebook is published. There's a lot to like out of this. I didn't get too crazy because we have a ton of bunch concepts. This video is already pretty long. But I like 3 main plays. I have 4 setups. And it's going to be the wide trail, the PA bunch shot, and then I do enjoy the flood as well, which should be in here. It is. So we're going to start out with the wide trail, which is a play that you guys see probably a lot of people running. It's very, very good. And there's a lot to like out of it. First setup, we're going to streak B, throw the running back line out to the left. And what you can do is go ahead and motion him out. This is going to open things up against cover 3. If it's man coverage, you have the corner. You have this backside post. Don't sleep on that. And then you have the angle and the running back route. 4 routes against man coverage that can get open. First read. Again, it's probably your running back or the angle route.
On 1, ready?
Later in the play, Jamar Chase is going to be open like every single time against every coverage. That route is so good, which is why I like being in regular bunch for a deep attack, because you have that route, and it is so amazing. I like the way the angle route gets open. The timing between the angle and the post is beautiful because you're trying to throw the post on break, and you're throwing the angle route a little bit later. So if the post is for whatever reason not open, feel free to throw the other one. And what have we done through all these routes? We haven't even thrown it to Mixon. He's been open every time if it's man coverage. We also have this corner out. That's going to be open every time, especially if it's man coverage as well. So this is probably the best play in the game, potentially, for a very good reason. Super difficult to defend. It's like a combination of bunch trail. It's like a better bunch trail almost. So feel free to do that. If you need to block your running back, I'll show you guys the setup that we can do, although I do have another setup anyway. So you need to block your running back. What you can do, block him, drag B. Now, the corner out's not going to be open, but if it's man coverage, this setup is still going to feast. So, made him man coverage. It's not in the ebook. Bonus setup once again for you guys. Next setup, zig B, block Y, and then I like to just like motion this dude out a step. Good against man. Not the greatest against zone, although he does get open. Probably more of a cover 2 setup. Not something I run too often, but we threw it in there. Next, we got PA bunch shot. This setup was really good one of the years. I remember Henry would like audible to this every play and like run it, and it would be really good. It was in one of the ebooks. But what I like, slant RB, put A on a little out route. I keep the play action. I do like the play action. I motion him across, and I motion snap him. Now, you can also let him get set, but what do we like here? Really good against man. Obviously, if your crosser, your post, your slant, your out route, 4 man beating routes. If it's zone coverage, you're kind of deciding between the crosser and the slant. Pick your poison. It's almost better to let these guys get set this year unless you're playing jammed man-to-man coverage. So, up to you. You can fit them in there. So, And again, he's going to have to use the crosser from the get-go. It does develop pretty quickly, especially if you're running it from this side because he doesn't have to go across as much grass. So make him pick and then do what you do. Here we got Flood. This play is decent. It's not the greatest in the world, but if you want a quick setup for here, I throw the running back on an out to the left. Man beater. You have a corner out. You have a flat. It's decent. Now, I think this play is a little bit better out of like some other playbook. I don't know, but the setup's not very good, so I won't talk about it for too often. I am going to update the audibles on this ebook, though, real quick. Wide trail, inside zone, flood, PA bunch shot. So we just need to replace corner strike with PA bunch shot. I just pretty much copied and pasted this from the Jets one, but the Jets one doesn't have this PA bunch shot one, which is probably why this formation is a little bit better out of... it's probably a little bit better in the Bengals, honestly. Alrighty, we're in the home stretch, hopping into our last and final formation. Now, I probably will make a separate video on this as well, maybe a gameplay. It is the Singleback Bunch X Nasty. This play is in formation, rather. Is in a ton of playbooks this year, which you love to see. It was only in like a few, but it is in Bengals, and I like it a lot. I will actually show some of the run plays probably in this one, but I like 4 passes, and I like dive. I like wide zone weak. You have a counter, you have a crack toss, you have just a lot of run plays, 18 plays, pretty decent. My audibles go as PA boot, dive, verticals, and PA cross. The other play I like is going to be PA counter in the middle there. So we're going to start out with the PA boot. Actually, let's just show the run plays first. Wide zone weak. Now, I've not like ran the ball in a game really at all this year, so I'm not like I don't really know what I'm doing too much, but these runs can be decent. Again, I don't run the ball really too much at all when I actually play the game. If you watch my gameplays, you know. Like, I think I've played like 10 games this year online, and I have not run the ball more than 5 times in a single game. But you have the wide zone weak, it can be decent. I probably incorporate some motion, get these things a little bit symmetrical, get you an extra blocker over there. Hit that run, get to the outside, and you can do a lot with this. So, decent runs. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing too far as runs. I will probably run some under center just to get to know these a little bit better. But, you know. Now, actually a PA counter in my audibles, but there's dive as well. Who cares? You guys know how to run the ball. You don't need to see me run the ball. It's not, again, it's not teaching you anything. Especially, I'm not on that level yet, but let's go to the PA boot. This setup, I'm going to streak B, throw in and out route. We're going to block our running back, and we're just going to motion T Higgins out. Basic cover 3 beater. Now, spacing-wise, I'm not the biggest fan of having the crosser and the corner out. So I do something different. They kind of run in the same area if you throw them late, but again, what I say with all these routes is there's a window to throw them. You're not going to throw the corner out early, so you are going to throw this crosser early. That's where you make your decision. You have the out route with Irv Smith. He's going to be open. Hit him. If there's no user or they're using one of the linebackers, that crosser is going to be a little bit more open. Next setup, we're going to streak B, block our running back, throw the running back out to the right, and we're going to slant X. This is going to give you a little bit better spacing, a little bit shorter. Now the slant almost does end up in the same area, but he gets a little bit more open just right in these windows, right about here. Now even that's a tight throw. So decent setup there. Next play, PA cross. We're going to throw Y on a wheel route. We are going to drag A flat RB. This setup is probably my favorite. You have a deep post, really good against man coverage, and just a lot to like. A lot of these underneath routes with Mixon. He doesn't really get as open under center, which is another reason why I'm not the biggest fan of under center, especially this year, but he can be decent. You want to throw him on snap. If not, pump fake. If you can wait, you can have T. Higgins open here. Probably better to almost wait to the sideline. He is not a super deep crosser despite what the player looks like, which really sucks because I thought he was going to run a really good crossing route. That crossing route is not super effective. But you have the drag. Drag is open. If you can wait, you can hit him. Like right about here, you almost have to pass it up every time you throw it to him though. Or high ball. Either one works. That's the only setup I have for PA cross. Vertical is a very solid play. I like the deep corner out with Chase. There's a lot to do with him. We're going to in A. We're going to wheel Y once again. Flat B. Same concept. This concept might work a little bit better from the shorter side, but you can also motion him out. A is open, and then RB, if you throw him late, can be open as well. Some other things you can do with this play. If it's straight man coverage, streak A, drag B. This should open up RB a lot more than he has been. He's been getting matched on by that linebacker. Now he's open. You can do that. I will show the first setup again, though. Flat B, wheel Y, in the wrong play. But something like this. Now, again, take a look at RB. He's not open at all, really. It's open here, but he is matched on more. It's not as open. X, you can streak if you're really not using him as a corner out because he does kind of get in the way. Feel free to do that. Anyways, the next setup is going to be out, the running back to the left. We're just going to motion out B. Decent setup. You have cover 3 open here with him, and maybe him. You can smart out X on all these plays as well. Him over the top, and then you have this wheel route if it's cover 2. Kind of crosses all your windows. Now, these dudes get bumped, but the running back is probably the best at pulling down that linebacker. So you see RB is a really nice window to throw it to. I'll show it again. Motion him out. And since we are in that motion out corner out, maybe he's expecting RB on a corner out. He plays heavy outside. That's where he can hit some of these other stuff. So running back's wide open. Now he has to run through a really a gauntlet just to get through the line of scrimmage, which is why it's annoying. I wish you could wheel players to certain sides. I don't know why that hasn't been added. It's very frustrating. Like, nobody uses swing routes in this game, ever. No one's ever used a swing route. How about just let us wheel left and wheel right? It could make this game a lot more fun, play design-wise. Very annoying. But streak B, we want to motion him not to that side. I'm a genius. We want to motion him over to the left. Here's where you can open up X, smart out X, drag A. Bada bing, bada boom. Beautiful play design. This might be a little bit better from the short side as well, but I like having the corner out over here on the short side with Jamar Chase. Throw it right on break. Boom. Easy money. And that is that. Last play, PA counter. And with this play, you have a corner out on B, just something different. If he's manning up RB out of a cover 3 shell, then this could catch him off guard. Streak B, drag A, drag X. And I like the play action out of this play. It just gives you almost better blocking. So throw these drags probably a little bit earlier because there is no route taking A or X deep up the field necessarily. Again, you obviously want to hit the corner out, but this is a good setup against man coverage. And if you get the time, pass it outside, boom, easy money. So that is pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you check out that written version down below. Buy it. I'm going to drop a 4.6 ebook probably this week as well. Let me know what else you want to see. Probably, hopefully, some gameplays. I should have more time. So let me know. Subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that like button. Follow me on all platforms, Twitter, and peace. I'm out of here.